Ready? Rolling. Hey, how y'all doing? Just out here in Warsaw this time, part of our trip with Jaren Scott.
Yep, took a brief hiatus from our busy day-to-day and figured that we'll talk to you real quick about a topic that's really interesting, because when we come out to these places, and for those of you who've been following the channel for a while, you'll probably realize, how do you afford to live this kind of lifestyle? Is it really out of reach for me? And for a lot of you guys, you might be really confused, but you'd also be surprised to know it's not really that difficult if you realign a few things.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, can you actually afford to live on an average wage today? And I would reframe that, because living on an average wage is obviously difficult in any country that you're in. But also the problem with living on an average wage, it tends to tie you to a desk, and you want location independence. So I talk about this a lot on my channel, about how to create a lifestyle with location independence by achieving your goals. And you want a lot of time, a lot of kind of free time to travel around and do things and experience life that you want. So, you know, you can do that if you're really, really results focused on your goals. But just to point out what Jaren just said on, can you actually afford to do this? We're traveling for a week, right? We're going to 3 cities that I know really well. I'm taking Jaren.
Yep,
he's over from Mexico City, so, you know, we're going to go and experience some really good places. And we've already been to a few places. The whole trip cost us something like 560 quid, flights, hotels, all in. You know what I mean? So it's not too bad. The biggest thing, it's not can you afford it, it's have you got the flexibility in your lifestyle, and can you create the time to do it? You know, so if you're kind of, I've got nothing against having a job, you know, if it's what you want to do. So if you've got a job and you're chained to a desk, if you want to do that job and you want that career, that's great. But if you're in a job that you don't want to do, and you'd rather travel and you'd rather do new things and experience everything that the world has to offer, there's where you should start asking some questions, because that's when you're not living on your own terms. I always promote that you should create an identity for yourself and live life on your own terms. And that means living with intent, you know. If you want to travel, you should travel. Yes, it's not always possible initially, you know, because you have to build up a financial base, or sometimes it's just about shifting your work. You know, you might need certain skills so you can work remotely. And for me, location independence is important. This is why when I speak to, you know, I interview a lot of people in the fitness industry. One of the issues that I have with the fitness industry is you can't leave the gym. You have to train your clients at the gym.
Yep.
So you haven't got location independence. Yeah. So it's like you know, you travel for work. And all you need is a laptop, right? So you can do this.
Yep. And then really for the gym thing, you know, push-ups, sit-ups, weighted body squats, 100 per morning, and you know, you're good. And then especially in places like this, we're walking around all day. But I think an interesting point to bring up too, when we talk about average wage, what does that mean to the average person? And for most people, at least where I'm from in the United States, I now live in Mexico City, but for most Americans, and I'm assuming that there's some overlap with the Brits or folks in the UK as well, you have the house note, you have multiple car notes, maybe you have some revolving debt that you need to resolve. And then especially lately, things are becoming more and more expensive. So your income's not necessarily increasing. A lot of times your tax burden is increasing, and then you just feel like you're getting more and more stuck. But I think when you do a mindset reshift, which I had to do years ago, I lived like the high cost California Playboy lifestyle. And then I realized I did a financial activity and was honest with myself that realistically I can live on less.
You don't need all those things.
Exactly.
I think that's the point. You don't need that. So when I said this in another video I just did recently, where like when I was growing up, you were taught that you had to go to university, you know, study, all these things, and then after that you need a mortgage, you need a car. All of these things are a ball and chain, right? I've got a house, right? I'm thankful that I went down that road. It means I've got a base where I can go back to. But if I was to redesign my life again from scratch, I don't think you need any of these constraints in your life.
I would have done none of that. Yeah. I would have just started right where I'm at.
Yeah. Do you need a big mortgage?
No.
No. Right? So you've got to look at it in terms of what do you actually need to sustain the life that you want. But it is about lifestyle design. It's about you deciding what you want and choosing it. Don't let society do it for you, because that's what I had. You know, chased a corporate career and I got a massive mortgage, and then all of a sudden you get a car and all these things. And you end up being a slave to your job.
You're trapped in your lifestyle.
Yeah.
We call it lifestyle creep.
Yeah.
And you brought up an interesting point earlier when we were getting coffee this morning. The background of my cell phone, it says working, and then there's 3 little buckets with numbers in there. You ask, what is that? One is my minimum budget. That's my fixed expenses. That's my rent. That's whatever bills. I don't carry any revolving debt. I don't have any outstanding expenses. And I really pared that number down. Of course, I leveraged geo arbitrage by relocating to the United States with a California tech salary to Mexico City, which saved me a bunch of money. There's also tax benefits for Americans. So my minimum budget is very little. It's equivalent.
Yeah, you don't need a car there, do you?
It's equivalent to less than what I'd make in a week in a quote unquote average job. And then I have my comfortable budget. That's okay, going out to a nice restaurant a couple of times, maybe a few trips a year. And the third one is what I call my baller budget. And what you find out is when you pare down your expenses, when you declutter is what a lot of minimalists call it, your lifestyle, that you start to get momentum. Like once your fixed costs are covered, anything else that comes in, that's just a slush fund. That's just a stockpile of cash that then you can do to fund these types of vacations. And in doing so, you gain experience, you gain some momentum, and you gain some goddamn gratitude in life to where you feel free, and it creates an open feedback loop to where it increases the quality of output of your work for minimal input costs. And it's a really nice place to be, to where I always tell guys, okay, maybe I'm not the Southern California baller playboy anymore, but I'm free. And that's, I think, what most people genuinely want, is just freedom.
I think freedom, is really important. Funny you mentioned the term baller.
Yeah, baller.
I always talk about this with my brother, right? So my brother's got no money or anything, right? But we always go on trips and we have good fun. And we do it on a budget, and I always call it balling on a budget.
There we go.
And you can do it.
Trademark.
You look at us, when we're putting little snippets on Instagram and stuff, it looks really cool what we're doing traveling around. But we're not spending that much money, but we're having the time of our lives,
Actually, not only, I'm spending some money, and I mentioned this to you earlier. The last time I was in Europe, I was in a different headspace to where I didn't have a lot coming in, and my expenditures exceeded what was coming in. And I was stressed out the whole time. I couldn't let go and enjoy myself because I felt like I didn't deserve it. This trip, entirely different. I'm going out, I'm meeting people on the street, I'm hanging out with old friends, making new friends. And every day I get home, there's more money coming in than money going out, because I'm, one, in a different headspace. Two, I've managed to create some momentum by minimalizing my lifestyle and maximizing my output. But now every interaction I have is an opportunity, and that is converting into real financial reward.
There is a mindset shift, you are right, because if I think about myself, I used to, just a few years ago, I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, pretty much tied to a location and all that kind of thing. I went on a few holidays, but nothing like I travel all the time now. And I changed all of that through, so I've got a system for goal achievement that works for anything, right? And I changed all of that, and I now work, say, I don't know, 15 hours a week, whatever, sometimes more, but sometimes I only work a few hours. And the output's, 4 times what it was when I was working flipping 80 hours a week. So you can actually do it. In some of my other videos I talk about this, I do 3 things a day that I work towards my goal, 3 small things a day, right? So you can spend 20 minutes or an hour.
Maximum impact.
Yeah, each one of them. I'm not messing around doing emails or all the kind of day-to-day work. I'm only doing things that move the needle. These are big hitting, results focused things, right? And what I'd say is, whilst we're out here, if you want to chat with us, by the way, just shoot us an email and contact with us and everything. And
link
me and
down
Jaren
below.
will be happy to talk you through how we do it, because this is, I help a few guys like this about how to, whether it's you want to create a business or whatever your goals are, whether you want to become location independent. Jaren helps people relocate to Mexico City, so these expats, so he's a bit of a specialist in this kind of relocation space. And you help people that maybe they're stuck in a corporate career and they want to change their life, move to Mexico City, so you help guys like that. So we'll put some links down below to other videos where we talk about this type of thing, where we talk about goal achievement, creating the life that you want. Remember what I always say, you create an identity for yourself, and then you go and live it every day through your rituals, routines and habits, so what you do every day. Focus on the things that matter.
I think it's safe to say we should wrap for now so we can get out and continue exploring wonderful Warsaw. I love alliteration, but I can't seem to get that one out. Be sure to check out the links in the description. Subscribe to Andy's channel if you haven't done so. Subscribe to my channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you are the first to be informed of new videos as they drop. All of our social links are down below. Click on links in the description, and we will see you next time.
That's a better ending, actually.